our combined fuel trim, which is our short and long-term fuel trims. So if we go here to our Z-axis, we want to take a look at combined fuel trim, and that's what we want to overlay here in the table. So now if we're taking a look, we see here at idle, definitely really rich. Looks like it's stuck here on our combined fuel trim. Let's get off of that. So looking at this, we see at idle, it's obviously rich. Part throttle, it also looks like it's a little rich. We might be able to touch up that table. And once we transition into our boosted area here, so 120, 180 kPa, that's where we see that our fuel trim starts to go away because we're in open loop at that point. We transition from closed to open loop. If we go here and go to our Z-axis and we select looking at our AFR error, that'll give us an indication what's going on right there. So we're seeing now, if we're looking at our AFR error here, and again, it looks like it's, my mouse is sticking, and apologize, this is really annoying. There we go. Nope. Let's click back on here. Okay, there we go. So now if we're looking at our transition here, 120, 180, as we're getting into boost here, I was giving it some throttle. Notice that we're pretty rich. It's about 13% rich, 15% rich. That's comparing our wideband reading to our target air fuel at that point. We need to lean out our VE table for sure. Now at this point, because I saw my combined fuel trim and my part throttle here showed that it looked like I was a little too rich. And then as I'm seeing here, my AFR error here and my open loop, it's showing that's too rich. I'm gonna be turning down my fuel table. We also see at idle here, it's also rich. We know we're about 15, 16, 17% rich. So we have some options in order to scale our fuel. Again, we can go after our injector because it looks like it's kind of an overall scaler here that would allow us to turn the injector pulse down without going in and touching our VE table. In this case, the reason why I want to go and actually edit and turn down my values in my VE table, when I'm taking a look in back here into our log viewer, when we're looking at our Omni map sensor here, if it's showing here 173 kPa, I'd like to see my load here, my registered load in my 2-byte, being around that same value, approximate. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be pretty close. As we're kind of clicking through here, they're relatively close. Part throttle, we're kind of looking at our lower values here. Omni's reading 93, our load's reading 87, but as we get into boost, that looks like it's definitely going to be a problem. So I might actually want to go in here and attack this in a slightly different way. It looks like around 100 kPa and below, our load registration here is ballpark. Once we get into boost, that's where it's definitely going to be inaccurate. We're finding that discrepancy. So what I'm going to do is edit my VE table for boost so that my load and my load 2-byte value here and my Omni kPa are going to be closer, but part throttle, we don't want to disturb that. We can see they're pretty close, so that load registration looks like it's pretty close. We're going to go after our latency values for injectors. That's going to be scaling out and starting to reduce our fuel, idle, and part throttle. So let's do this. If we go and plot here, we'll type in C for combined fuel trim. Use our cursor down here, click enter. We can see the combined fuel trim, what that's showing us. We can see as we're kind of scrolling across in here, where we're in actually closed loop, anywhere it's showing the combined fuel trim is populating, we're in closed loop operation. It's showing here that that's taking out about 11%. Here at idle, it's showing it's taking about 13% out. What I'm going to do, since I see it's taking out about 10 to 13%, I'm going to scale down all of my latency values for my injector information, which will affect idle, part throttle, won't really affect full throttle. I'll scale those down by about 10%. So I'll multiply by 0.9, which will scale it down by 10%. Then I'm going to go into my VE table and reduce my VE values as I get into boost. I'll bring them down about 10%. And then we'll go and do another flash and we'll go through that process again and see what that looks like. So let's do that right here. I'm going to go into my latency values. This is my latency values. These are my actual values. I'll do shift asterisk, type in 0.9. That's going to be hopefully reducing my fuel, my fuel that I'm seeing that's going to be excessive here, my short-term and long-term adjustment at idle and part throttle. But in boost here, we need to go and reduce this table down. So we're going to grab everywhere here from, let's say roughly 120 and higher, and I'll do shift asterisk and type in 0.9. We'll reduce that down. Hopefully that gets things pretty close. Now we do see this issue here where we're finding it steps from 80, 90, 100 kPa into 120. Probably want to blend this a little bit. Let's do H, just kind of blend that in as it's moving up. Now we may need to turn down our table here a little bit, depending on how things look as we flashed again. So let's try this real quick. Let me go here and save this as a different revision. So we'll save ROM as, and we'll do a rev2. So type in here rev2.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.